Tonight, All Elite Wrestling celebrated their 5-year anniversary with a special Dynamite show, but by the end of the evening, I felt like I had aged 5 years watching this crap. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. This is not going to be a positive review, okay? Last night, NXT, I thought it was decent. I thought it was okay. I gave it a 5 out of 10. Spoiler alert, I will not be giving AEW Dynamite a 5 out of 10. This show had like an overrun of 30 minutes. It lasted an extra 30 minutes, yet they barely got anything done on the show. They seem to do this all the time when it comes to the big shows, and I've given AEW credit because I think they do a decent job of utilising a lot of people in 2 hours. I do think they do a good job of that, but when it comes to the big shows, they just don't. Tony Khan does these extra long matches, and he basically sacrifices so much of the roster in order to have long matches on the show. He done it at the 250 show when it was MJF taking on Ospreay. That match went over an hour long. He did it there, and there was like rumours that Britt Baker was annoyed because she didn't get on it. I remember watching that show thinking, this was 250th edition of Dynamite. Think of all the people that helped Dynamite get there, yet barely any of them got on the show because they did like an hour 15 match with MJF and Ospreay. And tonight was a bit similar. We got 2 matches that lasted a very long time, and even the other matches. So the opening match for the Continental title or the International title, whatever title Ospreay holds, that lasted over 20 minutes. The main event lasted well over 20 minutes, and even the other 2 matches lasted a decent amount of time too. And I just thought with the 5-year anniversary, honestly, I thought they were going to try and get pretty much everybody that they could on to the show, but the matches just dragged. The matches lasted way too long, and it didn't leave enough time for everything else, and that is factoring in this show was an extra half an hour long tonight because of the overrun. So yeah, we were in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And by the way, I just want to get this off my chest. There was like a little backstage segment halfway through the show, and it was god fucking awful. This Japanese guy walks up. So Jack Perry arrives in the parking lot. This Japanese guy walks up to Jack Perry, and he's got this plain white t-shirt on, and it's got the lettering. It's got the word "The Wrestler." It says The Wrestler on his t-shirt. Plain white t-shirt with black text saying The Wrestler. And the guy's got his phone out, and you can see there's like a sentence on his phone. And he sticks his phone up to Jack Perry's ear, and then he like hits play. And the phone translates that he wants to challenge Jack Perry for his championship next week or whatever. Jack Perry says, "I'll think about it." He attacks him 2 seconds later. Jack Perry says, "I've thought about it and I've agreed." And that's the match set. Holy shit! Some plain-ass Japanese guy. Some fucking bum that would just look like this. You wouldn't pick this guy. If this guy was walking down Tokyo, you would not point him out. You wouldn't think this guy's a professional wrestler. Just looks like an average fucking guy with a plain white t-shirt saying The Wrestler on it. And he asks for a title match by getting fucking Google Translate to translate that he wants a match. How bad is this shit? This is embarrassing, man. How can they think this is good? The guy gets his phone out and he translates it in Google fucking Translate. How can anyone enjoy this, man? I don't understand. Listen, if you're for Japan, you can be. I'm not saying you suck if you're for Japan, but if you have zero communication skills, I mean, if you cannot speak English, and if you don't have a manager, then you're worthless. You suck. You're not going to get over. How can this guy with a plain white t-shirt with The Wrestler on it, looking average as hell, and using Google Translate to ask for a title match? How can people think this is good? How are we in an era of wrestling where this is considered fucking acceptable to put on TV? Remember Ty and Ty, where they were doing like the fake, at least they were ripping the piss out of them. You know what, at least that was supposed to be comedy. This is supposed to be real. This is supposed to be serious. This wrestler guy, he's a serious wrestler. And this is a serious challenge via Google Translate, man. Absolutely embarrassing. I actually couldn't believe it. Oh, I almost stopped watching the show right there. What a piss take that is. But they're not even meaning it to be funny. They're actually doing it as a serious thing. It's like, what the fuck? That was bad. That was very bad. Unbelievable. Right. First match, International Championship match, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. Ospreay hits the Rick Knox, or whatever it is. No, Ospreay hits his... Rick Knox is the ref, for God's sake. Ospreay hits the Hidden Blade, and then he counts to 3. But after the match, Rick Knox determines that both shoulders were down. So therefore, it's a draw. But the guys don't want a draw. They want the match to be restarted. Tony Khan tells Justin Roberts to continue the match. But before anything can happen, really, Takeshita comes out, and he attacks them both. I think Ricochet got the win by DQ, but honestly, it could have been a no contest at this point. So, pretty much knew this was going to happen. You know, I knew Ospreay wasn't going to lose, and the likelihood was they would protect Ricochet. I mean, that's what they did here. Maybe they're going to get some sort of freeway for the belt going. But honestly, man, this just wasn't very good. Dragged out, took forever, very long, very boring. It was a flip fest, you know. Both guys springboard off the rope, both guys do a somersault, both guys land with their fists down on the floor like they're, you know, like superpowers or something like that. And it's like, I mean, what are we doing here? It's supposed to be wrestling, and these guys are acting like the Power Rangers, you know. These guys are acting like it's fucking Marvel, you know. This is shit. This is absolute shit. No interest in this whatsoever. Mercedes Moné is backstage. She has like a highlight reel showing you all her best stuff in 5 years. She's only been there 5 minutes, but here we're showing you her best stuff in 5 years. MVP arrives. He gives Mercedes Moné his card. MVP is in the house. Renee's backstage with the Gun Club. The Gun Club get attacked by Adam Page. And, I mean, that was pretty much it. Adam Page taking them out before his match tonight. We then got TV time with Jericho. Jericho calls out Mark Briscoe. He wants a shot at Briscoe's belt. Briscoe says he's not a coward. His father didn't raise them to be cowards. Jericho says to Mark Briscoe, "You can't beat me, but maybe your brother Jay could." Jericho then says Jay was always the better brother. This pisses off Mark. Mark hits Jericho. Jericho hits the deck. And Mark agrees to the title match. So we're getting Jericho versus Mark Briscoe at Wrestle Dream or something like that. I mean, who cares? Mark Briscoe just looks like a bum. This guy looks like a meth head. I can't take him serious. It is what it is. I'm sorry. But you know, at least he does look like a... I mean, it gives him character. I will say that. The fact that he does look like a junky meth head, you know, it gives him something that nobody else on the roster really has. Although Moxley does look a bit like a junky meth head too, so I mean, whatever. We then get Darby Allin sitting in a junkyard. He speaks about one time he was on the bus and people were spitting on him. And it made him angry. And he wanted to do something about it. And he turned around and he was willing to die. And he got into a fight. Basically, he was willing to die when he fought Moxley. He'd rather get into fights than sit back and do nothing. And then he gives an open challenge for October 12th. So... yeah, he says he's got nothing left to lose. So, yeah, Darby Allin, nothing left to lose, apparently. Then we get the second match, Hangman Page versus Juice Robinson. We got a brawl throughout ringside and all this stuff in the, you know, in the arena, in the crowd. Page hits a low blow, then hits the buckshot lariat, 1, 2, 3. Hangman Page wins. Then after the match, he literally hangs... Adam, what's his name? Juice Robinson over the top rope. And then we get the return of the guy whose name I just can't even remember. I can't remember these guys' names. What is his name? Fuck. Switchblade. What's his name? I can't even remember. Jay White, that's the one, Jay White. Jay White comes back. He attacks Adam Page, beats up Adam Page, and I mean, that was pretty much that. So he saves his little buddy, Juice Robinson. You know, whatever. Wasn't great. Danielson's in the back, and he talks about effing John Moxley. He says that Okada's title's on the line, but it doesn't matter. It's only 20 minutes. His title's on the line the entire match, and he hasn't forgotten what he's done to him in the past. And if Bryan loses tonight, he retires and loses the belt. So, yeah, who cares? We all know Bryan ain't losing the belt, let's be honest. Third match, Britt Baker versus Serena Deeb. Britt Baker wins. I mean, whatever. Does anybody care? I don't. It just lasted too long, in my opinion. It was a throwaway match. This match only happened because Britt Baker is obviously from Pittsburgh, and Tony Khan just wanted to put her on the show. That's the reason. So there you go. Just a throwaway match because someone is in their hometown. Like, why don't we get like number one contender matches in AEW? Feels very rare you get number one contender matches. Remember Tony Khan, he said he had rankings and he was going to do it properly and people were going to, wins and losses were truly going to matter. I mean, what happened to that shit? Anyway, up next, Private Party versus Iron Savages. Private Party winning about a minute and a half. They then call it the Young Bucks. This match was shit, by the way. They called it the Young Bucks. They wanted a title shot. Young Bucks agreed. Then the Young Bucks said, nah, we're working on limited dates and we ain't going to waste one in this shithole. So the Young Bucks walk off. Jack Perry attacks Private Party. Young Bucks help him. It's 3-on-2. And then we get that Japanese guy. He comes out to make the save. So, yeah, there you go. Also, I don't know how I could forget, but we did actually kick off the show with Jon Moxley cutting a promo backstage saying that this is bigger than him and he has to do this. He doesn't want to do this, but he's going to give Bryan Danielson a favour. He's going to let Bryan Danielson go out on his shield when he takes the belt from him. I mean, it was an okay Moxley promo. He was out in the parking lot with his gang or whatever. Forgot to mention it, so it wasn't that good, was it really? Let's be honest. No. Right, then we go backstage with Renee Young. She's with MVP. Prince Nana is here. He doesn't like the way MVP's talking. Nana says he used to be a wrestler and he'll lace them up tonight. MVP says he doesn't deal with complaints. And he introduces Prince Nana to the president of the complaint department, Shelton Benjamin. Yo, ain't no stop me, no. Shelton Benjamin's here. He drinks Nana's coffee and he walks off with MVP. So Shelton Benjamin is now all elite. So we get that, and then we go into the main event. Bryan Danielson taking on Okada. Shut up, bitches. So we get Okada versus Bryan Danielson. Match goes over 20 minutes. Now, obviously, Okada's belt is no longer up for grabs, no longer on the line. We get the Blackpool Combat Club guys come out, Moxley and stuff. This kind of distracts Okada. Bryan Danielson gets the win. Okada's not happy. Hits Danielson with the Rainmaker. Gonna bring the rain down on you, son. Then the other guys get in the ring and they hold Danielson and Moxley's going to attack him. But then we get that other guy with the chromosomes is missing. Wheeler Yuta, he runs out with a hammer. It's hammer time, bitches. So he runs out with a hammer. Doesn't hit anybody with the hammer. Moxley gets in the ring. Wheeler Yuta is too afraid to use the hammer on him, which is fair enough, because if you use a hammer on someone, you could legitimately kill them, so I wouldn't recommend it. But then they get swarmed by all the wrestlers, and Wheeler Yuta and Danielson manage to clear the ring. And then next week on AEW Title Tuesday, Wheeler Yuta says, if you want Danielson, you're going to have to get through me. So Bryan Danielson makes it a tag team match, and Tony Khan makes it official. I mean, Tony Khan must have been, if this is legit, which we all know it's not, but let's pretend that it is, Tony Khan is making these matches official, like, within a split second. As soon as Bryan Danielson offered the tag team match, Excalibur's like, and Tony Khan's made it official. And I mean, how quick can he do that, you know? It just doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Title Tuesday next week, AEW Dynamite is on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday. I mean, that could really be a disaster for the ratings. I guess we'll find out. But that was it, guys. That was your show. That was your Dynamite. That was your AEW 5-year anniversary. And I mean, to be honest, it just wasn't good. I thought there was a lack of stuff happening. The matches were too long. When you think about it, I mean, we had Christian as well in a throwaway little backstage segment, but nothing really happened there. Just no MJF. No Tony Khan making an appearance, which I guess we don't really need, but whatever. Just feel like there was a lot of guys missing. And I can't really think of many off the top of my head, but I thought they might have wheeled out Kenny Omega or something. I don't know. There just seemed to be a lot of guys missing from tonight's show. Adam Copeland, I get it, he's injured, but I thought he would have been on the show. Toni Storm contributed a lot to AEW. I thought she might have been on the show. Yeah, I just thought there was a lot of people that should have been on the show but weren't. And it was kind of disappointing. 5-year anniversary, you think you'd have all your big stars on it, and that just didn't appear to be the case. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Taz wasn't here tonight, by the way. Taz he's got really bad knee problems apparently, so get well soon, Taz. Hopefully he is fine and he's up and about and he's walking next week. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. But in terms of this rating, I thought it was a really poor show. I did not enjoy it in the slightest. I'm going to give it, I'll give it a 1 out of 10. For me, the matches were too long. There was nothing really happening. And yeah, a 1 out of 10. Can't give it any more than that. I thought it sucked. I really did. So that's my rating, guys. Let me know what you think down below. 5-year anniversary flopped. And I tend to notice that all the big shows they put on Dynamite seem to just suck. They do. He just seems to like put too many long matches on the show, and it just doesn't give enough time to space out segments and give all the main event guys, give the rosters a chance there. So yeah, is what it is, guys. Anyway, that's it. I'll catch you in the next one. Bean Fog Wrestling. Let me know your rating and let me know your thoughts down below. Peace.